Hello and welcome to Aquarium Dilemmas. I'm your host, Sciencegal Aquatics. I'm Kerri, and this is my co-host,
Jesse, and welcome. Thank you
Hello.
for tuning in.
Yes, and thank you for watching. If you're a member on our YouTube channel over at Sciencegal Aquatics, thank you for watching too. So thank you. But this week, I think we have an interesting topic. I don't feel like we've talked about this before. I've gone through the list, and I feel like we're safe, but we always talk about the dilemmas and some of the bad things, and I want to talk about just why fish are wonderful pets to keep. Just the reasons we came up with, brainstorming a little bit on why you should get into the hobby if you're not, and why this hobby is fantastic if you are already in it.
And probably some reasons you're in the hobby or got drawn into the hobby for one reason or the other.
Bottom line, aquariums and fish keeping are fabulous.
Well, this is true, and I did not realize this until you obviously introduced me and drug me down the rabbit hole. And I get why you want to keep fish. For me, some of the other reasons are a little further down on the list, but I mean,
there's not one reason. There's tons, and I think that, it all contributes. But just to be like, one reason why I keep fish, there's a lot more reasons than one.
Well, one of them for you that I know you like, starting off.
Is what?
For you, it's just anxiety and just peaceful.
Yes. I definitely have anxiety. Large crowds. Even just racing, just when I need to calm down. If you experience any type of anxiety, you know what I'm talking about, even though it's not put into words very well. But aquariums, yes, one of the reasons is they're just relaxing and peaceful. And when I have those moments, it's really nice to come down to the fish room. And sometimes it's just doing one thing at a time, just concentrating one thing. I have some tasks I need to accomplish, and I can make my list and checking off that list and working with my hands. And sometimes with the freshwater tanks, some of them aren't heated, but a lot of them are. And I think just working with the warm water sometimes, it's just, there's all kinds of reasons that fish keeping and keeping the aquariums definitely help with my anxiety. Does it take it away and cure it? No, but it gives me some time to just take a moment and relax and calm down sometimes, because I get things stuck in my head and I don't seem to let them go very easily. And really doing the maintenance, feeding, just coming down here and coming up with a project of the day, it really does just kind of help settle me down a lot.
Well, and the other thing, I know one thing that your mom totally detests, but you do not mind, is some
just
people
the sound.
Just the sound of the water.
I love it.
The output of the filter.
Now,
if you have a hang on the back, just that output.
I don't have it to where it's drastically evaporated and it's splashing all around, but that just little bit of splash, I find it really relaxing. But like you said, my mom...
Well, a lot of the tanks, it's not even a splash. It's like a trickle.
Yeah,
it's literally a trickle. You can barely hear it.
You're right, that sound. Just being around water in general. But, yeah, I'm thinking of my mom now. She's like, it's just so annoying. But I just love it. I just love it. But my dad, too, he has a brain injury that it's happened, I don't even know, close to 20 years ago. And since we set him up, he's always had aquariums. He's the reason, we've talked about it before in the past, why I got into fish keeping, because he always had aquariums. But there is a time that he didn't, and we got him one for I think it was his birthday a few years ago. Now he's got two. And just giving him something to look at and build up the community how he likes, and he really enjoys feeding. He loves angelfish, and that's really, it's just given him something to look forward to, because he's not real mobile and he can't do a lot of things, but he really likes And that's what we talk about all the time with him is his aquarium. So sometimes we agree and sometimes we disagree on stocking, but he wins because it's his aquarium. But it really does help.
Well, and I mean, that brings up another nice little point there. Just the soothing part of it for him. It's relaxing. It's something he can do even with limited mobility.
Yeah.
And he could still somewhat...
The water changes are a little... Mom and me help him.
He can't do the water changes, but he can piddle with the tank, look at the
100%.
tank.
He likes to come up with a plan and tell me what to do.
But he still has the interaction. So in that aspect, it's a very good reason to have a fish tank, to own fish.
It's just the excitement. Just to, like, I'm not going to say he was super depressed beforehand or anything like that, but he just gets really excited when we talk about his fish and the angels and new things we can get in the future. And when we were setting up his newest one, it's the largest one he's ever had, which is a 55-gallon. And just talking about substrates and plants and all the different combinations, it really just made him excited for the day and something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I think it helps. But it's... like I said, some of the things he likes angels and neons and bettas and shrimps, and some of them work and some of them don't. But it's his aquarium. We can talk about it.
Well, and I mean, to kind of lead into that, there is you're bringing a little bit of nature inside. And like for him, since not being able to be really mobile and get outside and do a bunch of stuff,
it's just really hard.
He can have a planted tank. He can have driftwood in there. So there's so much you can do inside that little ecosystem.
Yeah. And it's so much. It's like me when I first got into the community and found the community. It was through YouTube. We had an aquarium my whole life, but we only had it set up one way for my entire life. We had some plastic plants, we had some kind of cave plastic thing, and we had gravel, and we never changed it. So when I started experimenting and talking to him about different substrates and live plants and things like that, now he gets to experience it for the first time and gets to talk about it and watch everything grow. And it's even though we've had aquariums forever, it's a whole different way of keeping aquariums that is equally exciting, but it's just new.
Well, and I think it makes the fish happier because it's more of a natural environment for them. And depending on how you plan it and everything else, the fish just pop, especially with their colors and everything. Yeah. It's just so vibrant and so invigorating to look at to match up. I mean,
well, even in foods too, like we kept our aquarium the same way and we fed the same food the whole time. So even with just experimenting with different foods that we give, like we take over there and different products and cool lights, like with the light we got them, it has a thunderstorm feature. It's just so many different things that even though, like I said, we've always had fish, it's just a new aspect that then it's lights, food, stocking options. So it's just so many different things, and it's fun to do together. It's fun. It gives us something to bond over that we might not have got to do again, because we always went to the fish store growing up, and then there was a time we never talked about fish, and now it's something that's bringing us back together is fish and football. So it's great.
Well, number one, there's nothing wrong with fish, and number two, there's definitely nothing wrong with football either.
But yeah, you have to throw it in there. But what else? Is there something? I feel like I cut you off like I always do.
Well, no, you didn't. I think those two tie together, the different aspects you can do between it's relaxing, it relieves stress,
lowers your blood pressure.
Yeah, and you can plan it, scape it, make the fish the happiest home they ever had. So you could do more than just put fish in a tank.
Yeah, and life's stressful, and sometimes it's nice just to sneak down here and have, even if it's 30 minutes, 10 minutes, a couple of hours, it's nice just to kind of escape, and then it gives me something to talk about with my family members and everything. It's just a really exciting hobby that I used to keep all to myself because it helped my anxiety, but I'm glad that there's just so many different things to share and learn, and it just helps with your overall mental stress.
Well, I'm glad you shared this hobby with me personally. I am.
As long as I got it out of the dining room and off the kitchen table.
Well, and that's where I'm going with this one is initially I was super scared. In the beginning, I'm not going to say super expensive, but it's a little more expensive to like buy a tank, buy a stand, buy a light.
Well,
The initial setup and probably the time, I would say the time for you to go through the whole nitrogen cycle and all that.
it's a delayed, what's the delayed reaction, delayed gratification? Because when you go to set up a new tank and you spend all this money and you get everything and you want to set it up and you want to look at it right now because of all these good benefits for my health and helps with my stress, but that wait is what you're like, I don't want to wait. I want to do it now.
You have a delayed reaction and delayed gratification because it takes time.
It takes that wait period before it's healthy
for you to put fish in, and you've already spent all this money.
Yeah. But like you say, generally speaking, if you want a pet of any sort, there's going to be an expensive initial setup cost unless it's like a free kitten or something like that, or something that but even then you got to buy beds and vets and toys and medicine and all these. I've had a dog that had really expensive shampoo and health insurance. So yes, the tanks are expensive. The larger tanks are more expensive, but I don't think it's drastically more unless I don't know a lot about saltwater, but I do feel like it's more expensive than freshwater with some of the things. But yes, you always hear it's so expensive, but I don't think it is overall that much more expensive of a setup cost than a dog or a cat. Or my mom, she keeps birds, and her bird houses are pretty they're pretty fancy.
Well, I think the initial cost is what runs people.
Have you adopted a dog and then took them directly to the vet? I think that's pretty compatible to a 20-gallon long in a stand.
Well, it's probably more than it's probably cheaper to go get the 20 long in the stand.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm just arguing to argue. But if you're going like our largest tank is the 180, and we did get that used and we re-siliconed it, so we did save money, but it was still like a $300 tank, and that was a deal. And then everything,
and then $100 worth of silicone.
So compare that to, a free kitten or your friend, I don't know, whatever scenario. You go to the shelter. I've adopted my dogs from the shelter, and they were $150. So depending, in that case, it would be more expensive, but I don't think, you just hear that all the time. Tanks, they're just expensive and they smell bad. You just hear that all the time. And if you compare it to the dog food and the cat food and all the other vet bills and things like that, there is times where it can be expensive if your tank, something happens and you have to get a new one or there's always some kind of scenario, but I feel like there's still a pretty significant initial cost to dogs and cats and reptiles and everything else.
Well, there's a repeated cycle of cost between your yearly shots for your dog. Obviously, your food, which on the scale, fish food compared to dog food is a lot cheaper, and you don't use as much of it unless you have like 80 tanks. That's different.
Yeah.
But if you have 1 or 2 tanks, you're not going to use as much fish food as you're going to feed a dog.
Yeah, and
or a
like
cat.
Our silver arowana it's a hefty eater. And it is an expensive cost to keep that larger fish compared to our nano fish downstairs. Like, that fish is more expensive to keep than my guppies. But it's still, we have 5 dogs and a cat, and their food is really expensive. So, I mean, I just don't want that to be, if that's the reason why you don't want to keep an aquarium, I don't want that to scare you off, because it evens itself out. And I think it's out of all the animals we've kept, the fish and the aquariums have been probably a lot lower. I'm trying to do math in my head, which is not right.
On the long-term cost of it, the only other thing that you're going to use besides you're going to get them some fish food, obviously, is you're going to do water changes. That's it.
Well, I think the most...
I mean, you're going to do water changes, and you're going to maybe buy, which you should, you're going to buy a water conditioner, and that's about it.
Well, and they make, if you want a 10-gallon, I always got in the past, I always got the little kit, and it did okay. My fish survived, and they bred. Like I said, I keep guppies the most. But if you're wanting a larger tank and you have the room and that is what you want, it is definitely worth saving to get a larger tank. But I guess our point is, it's just not something that should scare you off from keeping fish. Is, yes, the tank's it's not probably. The tank is going to be the most expensive part of the setup, probably than the stand, than the light, than everything in it. And your fish probably, honestly, is going to be the least expensive thing that you keep out of the whole setup. But I just don't want that to scare you off if you're thinking about going into keeping aquariums and having a pet fish or a community or however you want it. I just don't want that to be, well, it's expensive. It's not really that expensive compared to the dogs and the cats and the birds and the rabbits. I think it's all pretty comparable.
Well, if you add up overall long term, if you were to make a spreadsheet out and add up what you spend weekly on a regular pet like a dog or a cat, and yearly on that dog or cat, versus what you actually spend on your aquarium after the initial setup, I believe that the fish tank setup is going to be 10 times cheaper.
Yeah. And you used to always, when I started adding to the aquariums, you would always say, it's so expensive on our utility bill. And I'm like, it hasn't made a drastic change. So if you are keeping one large aquarium or a couple small aquariums, it's not going to be like tripling your utility bills or your water bills, or because I've overflowed the pool outside, and that did kind of crank up the bill. But the fish room's been okay.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sitting down here right now with over 20 tanks, and lights and filters running.
And you don't complain about it like you...
And it has not drastically changed my utility bill.
I'm going to write this down.
She's going to write this down, and she's probably going to... She's going to clip this part out to repeat it to me.
I'm going to keep it as a soundbite on my phone. Remember when you said it didn't affect it?
It hasn't changed that much.
But I guess
the kilowatt usage, actually.
Kind of going along the same lines of talking about other animals, too, is when we travel and we go to the fish shows and all the different things we go through, or if something just generally pops up and we have to leave town, I don't have the worry about the fish tanks as I do the other animals, of trying to find sitters and someone to feed them. And we have a couple that don't do so well. Well, I don't say they do fine. They just have separation, so they whine a lot until we come back. So you just don't have that with fish. You can enjoy them. You can get their tank water changed. You can get them. They can go a little bit without, if it's just a weekend, we'll feed them beforehand and then we'll feed them when we get back. And we don't have the worry of where I have to call my mom and your son of, are the dogs okay? Are the cats okay? You don't have that worry of the dogs didn't jump the fence. I might have a guppy jump out of the tank from time to time, but it's not something that happens often enough that it's something I worry about. It's like once in a great while I've lost a guppy and found it on the floor. So even comparing it we have Shiba Inus, so they're always jumping the fence. And comparing that to a guppy jumping out of the aquarium, Simba jumps out of the fence a lot more than I lose a guppy.
Well, I mean, that's a really good point. You can, with fish and aquariums, if properly maintained and everything, you can leave for a weekend, 2 or 3 days, and you don't have to. The arowana
definitely eats the most. It's the one we have to. If we're gone longer than a week or something, like a significant time, then yeah, we'll feed the arowana. But the guppies, like you said, they can go a while, so we'll get everything prepped.
Yeah, you can have everything prepped, everything ready to go, water change, feed them before you leave, and you can be gone 2 or 3 days, and it's no big deal, no hassle. You don't have to worry about anything. Come back, everything's just like you left it, unlike a cat or a dog or anything else. You got to find a pet sitter, take it somewhere, and have it boarded. Again, another expense.
Yeah. And the fish room's quiet. Like I said, we have Shibas, and they're loud, and they have this very, if you're watching something and you see these little dogs and they are at the groomers and they're just squealing of just squealing. That's our dogs. And they bark at everything in the sing-songy, I don't even know how to explain it, whiny, high-pitched. I love them to death, but it's a unique bark. And they're loud. And like I said, I love them, but they're loud. And our fish room is very quiet. It's very quiet, and it's very peaceful. And I don't have to worry about barking. I don't have to worry about my lovely guppies and my Mica splendens and my Buddha scratching my couch or, stealing food off the kids' plate. So just that type of care. You can just come down, maintenance your tank.
Well, fish are independent. I mean, they're in their little box. And if you give them a great environment, you can enjoy them, and they enjoy themselves. You don't. The interaction is kind of unilateral. For you can look at them, they can look at you. They don't. They're gonna go about what they're gonna do. You can go about what you're gonna do.
Yeah, and like the guppies, they have big personalities, but they're not a very personable type fish. But if you want a fish that when you walk into the room, it comes up to greet you just like a puppy or just like a cat. There's different fish species that do that 100%. Like flower horns are very personable and they get really excited to see you. And some puffers, it was the figure 8 and the green spotted puffers. When you would walk up, they would get really excited when we've kept them in the past, and the little pea puffers would come up. And sometimes certain bettas, depending on how cranky they are, they'll have a little bit of like a cute personality where they'll come up and greet you. So if you're looking for that interaction where it's like, oh, we do, I love this. Oh, and then you name them, and you can get certain fish that do that 100%. It's not, and then like the guppies are the type that you can just sit back and relax and just, it's like a moving picture. It's just, I don't know, it's just really peaceful to watch. And they don't necessarily come up to the glass, but when you feed them, it's just, I just love it. So depending on what type of fish and how you want to interact with that tank, there are 100% certain species that you can keep, and you can really have that type of personable bond between you and your little pet fish.
Well, yeah. And I mean, another point to it is they're just fish, in my opinion, after keeping them with you for so long, they're just less burdensome. As far as
you can enjoy it, but you don't have to worry about scooping the litter box.
Yeah, well, and you don't have to worry about, Pepe's got to go outside to go potty.
Yeah.
You got to take the dog out to go potty.
You have to do your water changes. You have to do your maintenance, but it's not. I would say the average fish keeper, including myself, probably does water changes once a week, once every 2 weeks. I would say on average. There's probably some that do it every day and some that do it once a year, once a month. There's, but like you said, the dogs and the cats and even my mom's birds sometimes require a lot more everyday maintenance of when I can come down to the fish room or even the arowana, just sit back and just kind of like, everything looks good. You're fed. Your tank's clean. I'm just going to sit back and we're going to enjoy each other's company. But yeah, less burdensome. That's a good word. Yes, 100%. Like I love my dogs and my cats and everything. My bearded dragon I love them all, but it's just, I do think the fish, even though we have a lot of tanks, are just generally less stressful and they're just enjoyable. Sometimes that cat.
Well, and we had a rabbit for a while. Mm-hmm. My son, my oldest, allergic to rabbits. Mm-hmm. Fish, there's not very many people that are allergic to fish.
No, I haven't met too many. But that's definitely, if like our children, luckily we're fine. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are just allergic to certain types of things. And if that's something that affects you, then having an aquarium is a really great option to still have that bond with an animal and a piece of nature. And you don't have to worry about sneezing.
Well, I mean, my oldest is allergic to rabbits, and he's allergic to long-haired cats for some reason. Short-haired cats, they bother him, but not for some reason. Long-haired cats send him into a fit. Yeah. But that's another reason right there. Mm-hmm. That's something that he can keep, but not have to. He can enjoy it. He's an adult, but not an old adult. He's a young adult. So it's something for his lifestyle he can keep, take care of. Again, doesn't have to constantly be maintaining a dog or a cat or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's a really good option for a lot of people. And I think that fish are just often overlooked because of a lot of assumptions, and I just feel like hopefully we can spread the word and help put some of that to rest, because keeping fish, there's just so many benefits that outweigh some of the things you hear. And then once you keep fish, you're like, oh, it really wasn't that expensive. Or fish tanks aren't supposed to smell, and our fish room doesn't have that. So it's just like things that you hear that keep people out of the hobby. As long as you're doing your maintenance, and I feel like it's the best that you can do to research a little bit to know why you need to do a water change, just so you have that little understanding. Because before I knew why I just did water changes because that's just what I was told. I didn't know. So the more we can put that out, I feel like a lot of people that are either on the fence about keeping them, or maybe, they've looked at the fish department at the fish store, but they've never really thought. Hopefully we can get the word that fish are and aquariums are really great pets. And aquariums are great to keep. And I don't know how else to say that.
Well, and if you're listening to this, spread the word to your friend or whatever that's maybe on the fence about it. And share some of these reasons.
Yeah, because you can get fish that come in every size, every color, and there are some fish species out there that are quite expensive. But I feel like the average fish at the fish store is probably under $10. You can get some for like 15 cents that are feeder fish. Those rosy red minnows came alive outside in the pond and they don't even look like the same thing. So even some of the feeder fish that you see out there that are a few cents, even keeping them are rewarding if you get them in, a decently, I don't know, like a 40-gallon breeder and a good handful of them and build up a community of them. There's just so many different options for all different types of budgets. If you only have a small space, you can get a smaller aquarium with some shrimp in it, some Neocaridina shrimp, and just set up a shrimp tank and keep that with some plants. Or you can get a huge 240 or 220 aquarium or something and have some monster fish. There's all different types and ranges and colors and communities and species only tanks, that there is something out there that's you're gonna fall in love with. It's just a matter of looking and shopping around and seeing what's at your local pet store or your local fish store. And there's going to be a time where you walk past something at some store that's going to catch your eye, that you're like, oh, that's a beautiful fish. And hopefully you have your aquarium all set up and you can bring it home.
Literally in the fish world, it's like I'm going to use dogs. There's a fish out there for everybody, just like there's a dog out there for everybody. There's all different types of personalities, varieties, colors, sizes, you name it.
Even like maintenance, there's super low maintenance tanks to super high tech tanks. You can make it as complicated or as easy as you want. You could have a larger aquarium that's bare bottom with just a couple goldfish and as long as it's a large enough tank. Or you could have a super small one with just shrimp. Like I said, there's so many different options. And once I stumbled upon the community and realized there's more than just plastic plants with neon gravel, the whole world opened up, and there's so many different things to keep and fall in love with. And like, you got brought into it with more of the aspect of like the mechanical, the plumbing, and then you kind of got into the plants, then you kind of got into the shrimp in that way. So even like if you're on the fence about keeping aquariums but you don't necessarily like fish, you could just set up a planted like aquascape with some shrimp. Or if you're not really interested in the live plants and making it, you like that, but you don't want that right now, you could do something just bare bottom with certain fish.
I mean, because there's lots of cichlids that are bare bottom only.
Yeah, I'm not a cichlid per se person, but I've kept them a little bit in long years past. But there's just so many different things that you can fall in love to bring you into this hobby. It's not just, yes, I love fish keeping. I love the fish the best, but I feel like you like more of the plants and the plumbing and making everything work the best. So there's just, in keeping fish, there's just so much to enjoy.
Well, there is. And as you either start to fall in love with the hobby or getting into the aquarium aspect of it, then you find all these other people that are just like you, and that opens up a whole nother door.
Yeah.
And you get just, I mean, you can go any direction then, because then people start bouncing ideas off of you.
Yeah. Keeping fish has definitely brought me into a social circle. Because beforehand, I stay in my basement and I work on my fish tanks. So I'm not real outgoing out there. But keeping more fish and getting into the community has brought me a whole, just friends, you know, and that's not something that I've never had a large group of friends before. Usually it's just kind of you and my mom, my sister, but it's been even just keeping fish. You wouldn't think of it because I didn't, but it's brought me a lot of happiness in the sense of it's brought me friends that I can truly trust and lean on, and we can discuss fish tanks, and maybe I have a dilemma on something, or we can just hang out and chit chat about who knows what. And I never would have thought just keeping a fish room would allow me that type of connection with people, but it has, and I'm very thankful.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why we're talking to you on this podcast. So thank you. Who would have thought? But I love it.
Absolutely. I think we may have covered most of
I
it.
can't think of anything else. I guess kind of going back to the topic of hand of just why you should keep fish and why fish are great pets. It's really relaxing and peaceful, and I think it brings a lot of enjoyment, and it de-stresses me, and it brings me a lot of benefits, and it just kind of calms me down. You don't, like you said, you don't have to worry about allergies. They're not as, I don't want to say that my animals, my dogs, because I love them, and my cat they're burdensome, but the fish tanks I don't have to worry and stress about them like I do my lovely dogs and cat.
Well, and I even said it earlier, I said hobby. Mm-hmm. Most people don't consider fish keeping as a pet. They consider it a hobby.
Yes. And I'm guilty of that too, in some parts. I never really thought about it, but the more I get involved in the community, my mind has shifted. And I think that's when I stopped looking at, I'm just keeping fish. I just have an aquarium, but now I think of them more as pets. I don't necessarily name every single guppy, but I definitely, when I made that shift, I got more interest. I started reading more. My mind, and you're right. Most people I don't think as fish as even on the list of pets. It's just something you keep, but they're most definitely pets, and you get really attached, even to a guppy. Just you do get attached when you see them when they're little bitty baby fry and you watch them grow up, or when we have that silver arowana when it was just a couple inches long and now it's like 3 feet long, and watching the koi grow outside. And my dad's angelfish, they came home as like nickel sizes and now they're bigger than my hand. And you do see them as pets when you start to watch them grow. And I think
when they grow and mature and develop.
My mind shifted when I found the community, because I started learning, I started researching, I started appreciating, and I started realizing what I had, because I always had an aquarium. It was just something I always did. My dad had an aquarium. I just moved. I always had an aquarium, but I didn't really appreciate it. And once I started learning and realizing it is its own little environment, its own little ecosystem, these are my pets. This is something that relies on me to feed them and watch them grow. And they're just really enjoyable, and they are pets. It's not something I just keep.
I agree.
Or collect. I don't just collect fish. I keep them because I love them and I care for them, and they are my pets. But it's hard when it's the fish hobby or fish keeping. It's hard to be like, but they're my pets too. I'm not just keeping them. And I think some of it's so ingrained.
Well, it's very stereotypical.
Yeah, I guess that's a good word to say. You're more eloquent than I am. I just ramble.
It is. Well,
with my nasally cold.
I inadvertently said it earlier. Said hobby. It's it's not.
Well, I say it all the time.
It's not a hobby. A hobby is collecting baseball cards.
Well, yeah.
To me,
it's a hobby in the sense that
But is it a hobby to keep a cat or a dog?
No, it's a hobby in the sense that I come down here with, and I fiddle and I maintenance and I care for my fish. It's a hobby in the sense of that, but it's not in the hobby of I'm just collecting things.
Yeah. But no one says it's a hobby to keep a dog.
No.
No, then you're a pet keeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get your point, but I think it's hard to change people's mind.
Well, it's not the minds, it's the perspective of what you're doing.
But I'm guilty of it too because I didn't appreciate what I had for so long. I just kept an aquarium because that's what I don't even know if it's what I thought I was supposed to do or it was just a habit or it was just something that if it wasn't there, it looked odd. I always had one, but I'd go get stuff and just whatever I wanted to put in, I put in it. If it worked, it worked. I didn't know why, but once I researched and I learned and I realized what I was doing wrong and what I could do better and I got better at caring for the fish, then I started looking at them as pets when I got it because I had a attachment to them. And I think that some people, when they keep their aquarium, they might not have, I didn't have at one point an attachment to every single fish I had because I had so many, but the overall I am attached. And whether I lose one guppy or something else, I just get upset at myself especially if it's something that I did because some of my stupid mistakes over the years, but I don't know if that makes sense. You can make it make sense.
It's an emotional attachment. The same you have is an emotional attachment to like a cat or a dog.
Mm-hmm. Especially like if you've watched them.
If you've watched them grow, develop, mature, you got them as possibly a juvenile.
Yeah, and it's one that not all fish have the same life expectancy. So if you have a fish that's going to live 50 years, you're going to be more attached to it than something that's going to live 6 months. But I'm the type that if I've hatched it, watched it drop, just generally be born in my care, I'm going to have some kind of attachment to it because I'm caring for it and I'm watching it grow and I'm feeding it and I'm trying to take care of its home with water changes and things like that. But I feel like the ones that when you get them when they're little, like that silver arowana, and it's going to live a long time, hopefully. So far, so good. And it was little bitty and now it's huge and we've had to upgrade its tank and we're going to have to do it again sooner than later. It's just, I love that thing, even though it wants to eat my fingers, just probably as much as I love my dogs and my cats and the bearded dragon, but I feel like that fish is right on par with it.
Yeah.
And if something happened to it, I would we had a black featherfin knife fish and something happened with its eye and I called every vet in our state trying to find someone to help me with this thing. And some of them laughed. And so it's hard. It's like when someone's telling you, why are you calling me for a fish? It's like, because it's my pet too. I don't want it to suffer and die, just like I don't want my cat to suffer and die, type of thing.
Yeah, and that's my whole point of that is.
Well, I'm glad that
I said it earlier, even by accident, not even meaning it. Surrounded in this room by tanks, saying it's a hobby. It is not a hobby. I have 20 tanks around me right now.
It's a hobby in the sense I spend my time on it, but it's a hobby of mine trying to get those Shibas to sit. Sit, and I promise I'll give you a treat. Don't bark at the trash can and don't hop the fence. It's a hobby too. just spending my time, but it's more than a hobby for sure. These are my pets. I love them. I get super, whether it's a guppy or one of my other animals, I would just get upset if anything happened that especially is preventable.
Yeah, anything that's out of your control obviously is out of your control. Life expectancy, there is certain illnesses,
When we had that,
things like that you can't control.
Yeah.
But there's certain things, preventative stuff, just as far as water changes, things you can do, just keeping an eye on them.
I got really upset and emotional, and I got super mad when we had that largemouth bass, and we had spent a while setting up the tub outside to give it a very large place to live. And I still don't know if it jumped or what, but your son had his boxer over here, his boxer dog at the time.
Yes, he did. And
when I went outside, he was having dinner, and I got really upset because I was like, I should have done better, but I didn't know. I couldn't have done anything because I didn't even know that was a foreseeable problem. But there's just certain things and certain fish. And like I said, I don't necessarily cry if I lose a guppy, but I am definitely bummed. But if something happened to that silver arowana and something happened to it, I would be so upset. I would grieve that fish for sure.
You would cry. That's my favorite fish.
Yeah. So
I'll bawl like a baby. I ain't even gonna lie.
I guess kind of wrapping up, I think that fish are deserving of the title as pets, just like all other pets, because they're fantastic and they bring me a lot of joy and love, just like my dogs and my bearded dragon and my cats, or my dogs, my cats, and my bearded dragon. And I just feel like we need to get the word out that more people should have them and keep them.
Well, I think this topic in general is to the cat dog people out there,
and birds and reptiles too.
Yes. Is a very overlooked topic because aquariums are looked at as hobbyists and it's just something they do, whereas fish are pets too. And in my opinion, to put an aquascape in there is just making it more of an environment that they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
To make your pet happier. Just like you would buy your dog its favorite bed. If that's what it liked to lay in, you would buy that bed for that dog, right? Well, guess what? Your fish like a certain environment. Why wouldn't you give it to them?
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Well, hopefully you've got something from this. Hopefully we've done a good job convincing you that fish are fantastic pets and you should keep aquariums. So,
yes, I think so.
And sorry about our colds and the coughing and the sniffling.
Yeah, a little nasally.
A little bit of the flu going on, but hopefully you shared this with a friend, you took some notes, you learned something new, and if you want to watch this podcast, feel free to check us out over on YouTube at Sciencegal Aquatics, but if not, just thank you for listening and making it to the end of this episode. We appreciate you. You are our friend, and I'm glad that you are here listening to us.
Yes, and check us out on sciencegalaquatics.com.
Yeah.
You can look up nitrogen cycle for stuff we hinted on earlier on easy maintenance to keep your fish healthy and happy.
But until next time, thank you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.